Hello friends, all of you on Bookish Treasures. Welcome. Today we are going to talk about The Mountain Is You by Brianna Wiest. Book K. About Pradeep was a normal boy who faced a lot of struggles in my life, had to do that in a small town, lived there and had only one job day and night. He is very frustrated with himself to survive. He lived because he wanted no one in his life. Felt like I was not able to achieve a big goal. It was like the same routine every day, and sometimes he felt that he would not be able to grow. No matter how hard he works, Pradeep can't do anything big in life. The biggest problem is in staying disciplined. Be it studies, fitness, or personal goals, he is never consistent. Sometimes he could start with great enthusiasm, would support, but within a few days, motivation would run out and then he would go back to the same thing. Stuck in old habits, waking up late, procrastinating work and just passing the time. One day when he was sitting in the park, I was thinking about life when met a stranger. The man was around 40, was 45 years old, but Pradeep had a strange confidence and peace. I ignored him at first, but that man, he smiled looking at Pradeep and asked, "What's going on, buddy? It looks like something heavy is going on in your mind." Pradeep refused to say anything at first, but then as the man started talking in a friendly manner, started talking to Pradeep slowly, he started sharing his problems and said, "How can anything go right in his life? Not going on." She told that every time she tries new but fails every time. That man goes with great care, listened to things and then said very calmly, "Your problem, Lesneva, is not discipline, it's just self-sabotage." Pradeep felt a bit strange after hearing this. "Self-sabotage, what is this?" he asked. The man started explaining, "Look, sometimes we stop yourself unintentionally without it. Understand that we are standing in our own way. Self-sabotage is a kind of defense mechanism who try to protect us from those things. Does what we fear or what our." Pradeep is still not able to fulfill his needs. Couldn't understand anything, so he asked, "But I just felt lazy. Am I, or do I have to stay disciplined?" The problem arises from self-sabotage. What does it have to do with it? The man said laughingly, "So that's your point, trying to save Lesneva from failing. Are you thinking that if you don't even try, you won't fail? So you will avoid those things again and again. Do whatever makes you feel uncomfortable." Pradeep listened carefully and he got some clarity to know that wanted what is the solution to this problem. Then he asked, "How can I get out of this?" "I have to leave," the man said softly. "First, you have to recognize that you are self-sabotaging. Believe that this habit will save you from that discomfort, which is for you to progress. You will have to face it. When you understand this, you will be able to ask yourself, am I really lazy or am I myself? Pradeep is saving me from failing." Thought for a while, he felt like it. The man was decoding her every thought. Started asking myself, am I really? I hold back because I'm afraid. Am I so afraid of failure that man doesn't even try? Pradeep, looking at the confusion, he said, "Look, Rahul, you do whatever you can to save yourself. It's normal, everyone is like this sometimes. But until you recognize it, you won't get out of this until you do. You will find it's time to face your fears and to your need. Identification, facing uncontested force. He can move ahead with that man." The man asked, "What should I do now?" Smiling and said, "First step already. You've got it. That's what's your problem now. You have to take every action consciously. Have to observe whenever you do any task. Ask yourself, am I afraid? Am I holding myself back?" Pradeep nodded. He felt he got the direction and he knew that the journey will not be easy, but now he has clarity, was ready to fight herself. Pradeep was realizing that this was just the beginning, is what that man taught him. In many other aspects of his life also applied, he had many more things to learn. And he also knew that he would get back to that man. Will definitely go to meet. Pradeep will get answers from that person. I understood a lot after the first meeting. He had sacrificed his life today, had recognized the patterns, and now he was trying to break them. But he still had many questions in his mind. knew that just understanding is not enough. He should put those things into practice in his life. You will also have to implement it in if you like our free summary, then you can subscribe our channel. You can purchase our membership or contact us. Now you can support through UPI. Let's go back to the summary, and this is the most. It was a difficult task. After a few days, Pradeep again saw that person in the same park this time. He decided to go to her without thinking. Decided he felt he had. There are many more questions he needs answers to. The man was calm and composed as always. It was visible as soon as Pradeep came near him. The man arrived, smiled and said, "Looks like. Have you started your journey? Are you feeling?" Pradeep hesitated a little. I said, "Yes, in my life. Sabotage has been recognized, but still I can't figure out how to go beyond this. I am trying to grow, but something. That guy is finding it very difficult to change too." Listened carefully to Pradeep and then said, "It's absolutely normal when you trying to get out of the comfort zone. If you feel discomfort, then growth is inevitable. The process is not easy," Pradeep said. "But I don't understand this discomfort. Comes every time I try something new. Or to get out of your old habit. I feel like this feeling that I am forcing myself too much. Makes me uncomfortable, and then I come back. I fall back into my old habits." That man. He nodded and said that this is what growth is all about. The real challenge is, Rahul, you are uncomfortable. If you want to embrace, if there is any change in your life, you have to go back to your old habits and comfort zone. Have to leave, and yes, it won't be easy. But this is the real transformation. The path is your new life, yours. Pradeep will be found at the cost of old life. Felt a bit strange after hearing this and asked, meaning the man explained, "Look at your old habits and relationships make you comfortable. Gives because you know them, whether it is good or bad for you. He is familiar, and when you try something new, if you do, your mind remains in the same comfort zone. Tries to return because fear of new and unfamiliar things. If you want growth, then you have to. Old habits, some relationships, and that. You have to let go of things that make you move forward." Pradeep now understands something. I started coming in, but still he was confused and asked, "But how? Is it possible? How can I break my old habit and I should leave the people?" The man said it was easy. "No, Rahul, you have to understand this slowly. Things or people that hinder your growth are hindering them from leaving. There is no other way, but you never achieve your full potential by staying in the comfort zone. Can't reach your potential. There must be an uncomfortable force, and this discomfort has to be accepted that it, Pradeep, is a part of your growth." Took a deep breath and said, "Okay, I understand. I am not afraid of discomfort. I want, but how to start practically?" The man smiled and said, "This is the first step. Awareness, and that you have already achieved. Now you have to observe every action of yours. Have to do whenever you try something new. If you feel hesitation in doing so, then do it yourself. Ask if I'm running from discomfort. And if the answer is yes, then embrace it. Take small steps and gradually become uncomfortable. Put yourself in forced situations and see that. How do you react every time you will step out of your comfort zone? Step forward, Pradeep. Understand this. I was coming, but still she was afraid. She asked, and if I failed, then the man said, fear of failure is your biggest fear. The challenge is you have to understand that if you fail, being is part of growth. If you fail, if it happens, learn from it and move forward. Remember, you will face both discomfort and failure. Strong as long as you try. You will always be learning something. Pradeep was getting some courage. Thought that maybe now he can do something in his life. He can make changes if he asks the man, "What should I do first, man?" After a pause, he said, "First of all those things, make a list of what makes you uncomfortable. Then slowly face those things. Start, for example, if you have to, in the morning. If you have problem in getting up early, then challenge yourself that in the next week, you will wake up an hour earlier in the day. And if you feel discomfort in waking up in the morning, then embrace it. Understand that this is just discomfort. This is the beginning of your growth, Pradeep." He noted the matter and decided in his mind that now he wants to get out of his comfort zone. Will try his best. He also understood this. It was said that every time there would be an uncomfortable force, that will be his moment of real growth. Asked the man, and what about relationships? There are some people in my life who help me, always pull them down, but it's hard to leave. The man took a deep breath and said, this is the most challenging part, Rahul. Some relationships give you comfort because you know them, but if he is hindering your growth, you have to redefine them. Doesn't mean you have to meet those people. Kind of leave, but you have to understand that your growth, there is responsibility, and if someone pull back, so you have to maintain distance. Protect yourself from negative influences and spend more time with those people that help you grow. Pradeep slowly nodded his understanding. I was thinking that he would face many problems in his life. Things have to change, and this process is painful. Maybe, but this is his real growth. There was a way. He finally said to the man, okay, I understand that I can no longer run away from discomfort. I will embrace her instead, and I know it won't be easy, but I'll try. I will do this, the man said smilingly. Spirit is, remember, discomfort is yours. Friend, as much as you accept him. Only you will grow, and yes, whenever if you need any help, I am here. Pradeep nodded and got up to leave. He felt as if his life, now a new chapter has begun. Embracing discomfort instead of fearing it. Because this was the real path to his growth. Pradeep was now beginning to understand the discomfort. He gradually changed his habits and lifestyle. Had started trying to bring change in every times when he wants to do something new or difficult. I would definitely feel discomfort if I tried. But now he has learned to embrace it. He knew that this discomfort would hamper his growth. But this journey is not so easy. Was every day when Pradeep tries to change his habits. If he tried, he would often feel that, like he's hitting an invisible wall. He tries to do something big, but as soon as he tries to take a big step, he felt that perhaps he could find his own way. Has become the biggest obstacle in my understanding. I couldn't figure out why, but this one. There was an obstacle that he could somehow overcome. Unable to do so, one day Pradeep asked again. I met that person in the park, and now I had become accustomed to taking advice from him that day. He was very restless and had to solve his dilemma. The man couldn't think of any solution as usual. Was sitting quietly as if he had all the. Pradeep reached out to get answers to his questions. And with some hesitation he said, do you understand anything? I am not feeling the discomfort. Have learned to embrace, but still, I feel myself stopping somewhere. I do every time I want to move forward. I feel like man is his own biggest obstacle. Listened carefully to Pradeep and then softly said, you are right, often we ourselves. But you are your biggest obstacle. Also understand that you are the one who solves your problem. There should be a solution, Pradeep said, a little surprised. The man asked, taking a deep breath. Look, there is no such person in the world. That will change your life completely. No one can save you, no one can save you. Cannot bring you success unless you yourself are not ready for this. You are the hero of life, and you are also the villain. You have to understand that only you know your circumstances. Pradeep may change a little after hearing this. Felt strange. He thought maybe he needed external support or motivation. But now he was realizing that the real control of life is in his own hands. He slowly asked, so how can I do all this? I can change my own problems. Then how do I have to become the solution myself? The man smiled and said, this is the real thing. The lesson is that unless you understand that he is responsible for all the decisions of his life, your growth will not be complete until. Sakti, Pradeep asked again, but I understand what to do practically. I don't know how to get out of this mess. Let's go, the man explained while saying the first step. You have to take self-responsibility for your every action, every thought, and every decision. Have to be fully responsible whenever. If you face any obstacle tomorrow, then do not think someone else will come and solve it for you. You can get yourself out of your problem. Your fears, your resistance, all this are created by you and you will have to face him, Pradeep. Now he started to understand that he had to. You are responsible for everything that happens in your life. He will have to raise the external factors till now. Was blaming him, but now he finds out. I thought the real problem was within him. The man said you also have to understand that when you recognize the obstacles within yourself, so you have the power to overcome them. If you are afraid, then it means that you have the courage. If you feel blocked, then you have it. There is a way to cross, only you and you. Pradeep will have to learn to trust himself. Now realizing that he was always outside was looking for solutions, while the real solution, it was inside him. That he asked the man, what? This means I have to face my fears. The man nodded in agreement. Of course you should know about all your fears. You have to face resistance, and remember, every time you face your fear, you will discover a new strength within yourself. The more you try to run away from yourself, your obstacles will only increase, Pradeep. Then he said softly, now I am on my own. You have to trust. The man smilingly said, don't just trust yourself, don't trust yourself. Even if it saves you, remember yourself. The sooner you become the architect of life, you will understand that no one else can save you. The sooner you will come to your life, Pradeep will take control in his hands. Realized that this was his biggest mistake. Was always asking for help from others, to be someone else's savior. Had been expecting, while in reality he himself. The man said that he had to become the one who would save himself. Probably as much power as you have. You don't even know it's inside you. All the power you need to overcome your problems. To solve this, you need your own. The biggest obstacle in the way is tomorrow and you. There should be a solution for this. Pradeep now understands. He had to change his circumstances. He didn't need anyone else. Your own fears, your own problems, and your own obstacles. He thought that now I will not wait, he told the man. Now I understand my problems. I will become the solution myself, the man said while shaking his head. Said this is the greatest understanding. As long as you yourself, you will not accept him as your salvation until any meaningful change in your life won't come. But if you accept responsibility, then you will. No one will be able to stop you. Pradeep decided that now he will take every decision of his life. He will take the responsibility himself. Now more excuses. He took leave from the man and thought that now his real journey has begun. Pradeep will now overcome his fears and resistances. He was ready to face this also. I understood that he was not afraid of discomfort. Instead, we have to embrace it, because this was the real path to his growth. Now he sees himself not as his hindrance, but as his own. Pradeep started considering himself a part of the solution. By now he had understood that he himself, he saves life from its fear and had recognized the obstruction within, and now to improve your life completely, was ready. But his journey is not over yet. He got his life in the right direction. There was a need to learn more to bring a day again. Pradeep met that person in the park. I went to meet him. There has been a change in his thinking now. But at times he was still unsure. I often felt that his attention was on those things, but which he had no control over. He began to think about how much the world, it's unfair, how people are against it, and how difficult the circumstances are for him. Pradeep told the man, I have said a lot. I have learned, but still sometimes I feel like this. It seems that many things in my life, these are things I have no control over. Many times I think about the circumstances. Man gets frustrated with attention. Listened to him and then remained silent for some time. Having said that, it is true that in the world there are things we have no control over. But you have another important lesson needs to be learned, and that is focus on what you can control. Pradeep carefully. After listening to him, the man said, there will always be things in life that is out of your control, but you waste your energy on those things. Should focus on those things instead of understanding what you can control. It is extremely important that our greatest strength, hidden in our actions and attitudes. Pradeep asked, thinking, but how do I know which things are mine? The man is in control and which is not. Smilingly said, it's very easy, whatever. The thing is yours, your actions are yours. It's about decisions and your attitude. Everything else is under your control. Behavior of others in the world. Circumstances, weather, politics, all this is not in your control when you pay attention to things that there is no control, so you can only control yourself. You waste energy and create anxiety. Do you? Pradeep said with some concern. So I don't care about those things. I must do something that is not in my control. The man shook his head and said, no, it's not like that. It is human nature to care, but there is a difference. It's that you accept those things will have to be done over which you have no control, not when you accept them, and focus your attention only on those things. Those you can change are yours. Anxiety will reduce and you, Pradeep, will feel empowered by this. Started thinking a little deeper about the matter. He began to understand that he often used to spend energy on things that were not his. She was not in control of this thing many times. He was worried about what people would say about him. What do you think about the situations in his life? How are you and what's happening in the world? But now he was realizing that there's no use paying attention to things over which man has no influence. While explaining, he said, look at this matter. Can't control what the weather will be like tomorrow. It will happen, but you can control it. That if it's raining, you can use an umbrella. Will you go out with it or not? Can't control people's behavior, but you control your reactions. When you focus your energy on those things, focus on what you can change. So your life becomes better. Pradeep slowly nodded and said, now I understand. I am wondering where to focus my thoughts. I should do it, but what should I do practically? The man should do this by taking a deep breath. Said, first of all, you have to understand this. Your actions and attitude it's under your control whenever you want. Feel like something is under your control. No, leave him, don't worry about him. Focus your energy on things that matter. You have control, for example, if you are frustrated in some situation. So see that in that situation what can you do if you can't do anything? So accept it and move on. Pradeep. Hearing this, he felt that many times he himself, from being troubled by those circumstances, need to be stopped, which is under his control. Now he was beginning to know that if you put your energy in the right direction, man will bring positive changes in life. Said, focus on your actions, your thoughts, and your attitude is your greatest strength. If you control your reaction in every situation, if you can control it, you can control it anywhere in the world. Now Pradeep can face the challenge. I began to understand that in my life what changes need to be made, he thought. From now on he will focus his energy on those things. Those he can control. Now I understand what I have to do. I want to focus my energy on those things. I will not waste any money on anyone. I don't have control, the man said smilingly. Said, this is the right direction when you control yourself. Take decisions and take actions within the scope of. If you do, you will feel empowered. Remember, many things in the world is not in your control, but your reactions and actions always. Pradeep is under your control. That night, he took leave of the man and returned home. Sitting in my room and talking about my life, I started thinking. He asked himself which these things are under my control. Slowly start listing those things. Did he now realize that when decision within the scope of your control, if he takes it, there will be a new clarity in his life and empowerment will come. Now Pradeep said in his life, he had made a new rule for will pay attention only to those things on which you have control, and the rest will happen automatically. Will give and accept them. He understood. When he took his energy in the right direction, if I invest in him, his life will not only be, there will be anxiety, but it will be more productive. Pradeep will also be there, learned a lot till now. He had understood that the real control of life is one's own actions. And the attitude he has on those things now had stopped paying attention to those whom slowly his life was out of control. Positive changes started coming in me, but the journey was not over yet. he had another. Important lessons needed to be learned. Developing emotional intelligence. One day, Pradeep went to meet that man again. There was a twinkle of confidence in his eyes, but he still had some questions about the man. Said, "Now I have achieved a lot in my life. I am feeling improvement, but many. Sometimes emotions control me. Sometimes I feel angry, scared, or sad. I know that it distracts you from the decision. I should control my emotions. But it's not that easy to do, man." Took a deep breath and said smilingly, "Rahul, your emotions are human. Emotions are part of nature and our life. Integral part, and ignoring them. Or it is not right to spray. The real power is this, that you understand your emotions. Recognize and then correct them. Deal with it. This is emotional intelligence." Pradeep asked emotionally with confusion. "What is intelligence?" Man explained. Emotional intelligence means that you recognize your emotions and understand them, and you can handle it properly. Involves understanding what your emotions are, kind of influence your behavior, and how it impacts your decisions. When you understand your emotions, if yes, then use them to your advantage. You can do it. Don't you become a toy in their hands. You can. Pradeep nodded. "I did it first. I never thought this way often. I get carried away with my emotions and it's wrong. I take decisions," the man said laughing. Said, "It is common that we all sometimes are forced into the hands of emotions, but developing emotional intelligence is a skill. To develop it, you need to recognizing emotions and dealing with them. Pradeep will have to learn to deal properly." Asked curiously, "But how do I start?" The man thought for a few moments and then said, "First, the step is self-awareness. You have to understand this. It happens that when an emotion arises inside you, so where does it come from and why does it come? For example, when you feel angry. If yes, then identify the root of that anger. Is it because someone insulted you? Did or is it because you first? Have you been struggling with some other frustration since?" Pradeep nodded. "Yes, many times I take out frustrations on others, when in reality I'm worried about something else. I am a man. It is self to understand this. Awareness is when you know your emotions. You start understanding them better. You can handle it with the next step is self. Regulation means that when you have to, if you feel strong emotions, then you can be able to control the effects of that emotion." Pradeep asked, "Don't take wrong decisions, but is it right to suppress emotions?" Man immediately replied, "No suppressing emotions. Suppressing your emotions is never good. Become more intense and even that come out somehow. The right way is to control your emotions. Acknowledge, understand, and then consciously decide how you will respond." Pradeep realized that he often used to ignore emotions or ignore them. "I used to react without thinking, but now he began to understand that understanding emotions and how important is it to respond to them properly." The man further said that he has emotional intelligence. To do this, you also have to learn empathy. Empathy means you feel good about others, be able to understand emotions and their perspectives. You can appreciate when you develop empathy. If you do, you will improve your relationships. Can make and improve conflates. Pradeep said that you can handle it properly. So this means that I have to listen to others. Emotions should also be understood and not just. My man smiled and said, "Of course. When you just focus on your emotions, so you become selfish, but if you start understanding the emotions of others too, you become a better person. Better handling of conflates. You can strengthen your relationships." Pradeep can make it. He has learned a lot so far. He thought that emotional intelligence to develop his own feelings as well as the feelings of others. "I also have to understand," she said to the man. "Now I realizing that I need to understand my emotions, and they need to be controlled, don't they?" Man has tried to suppress or ignore them, nodded and said, "Of course, if you start understanding emotions, then you have power to manage them properly. You come and keep them under your control. And when you do that, Pradeep can avoid self-sabotage. Had now understood that emotional How much does intelligence matter to one's life? What is important is his feelings now, to better understand and manage. He was ready. He said goodbye to the man and went home. That night Pradeep came back with his emotions. Kept thinking about he realized that even if he ignored any emotion, emotions used to control him, but now, he will acknowledge his emotions, will understand and deal with them properly. She decided that from now on she would not control her emotions. He will not let others dominate his actions. Will understand your emotions and channel them in the right direction. I will channel this journey of Pradeep now. Was not complete, but now he can live his life. Another important step forward has been taken in. He had to develop emotional intelligence and had understood that your feelings as well as those of others. Feelings also have to be understood. This is its real meaning. Pradeep's journey will now become his strength. She was in the last phase of her life. Major changes were made and every difficulty faced what had stopped him now himself. Stronger than ever and feeling confident, but he also knew that his real test was yet to come. What he had learned in real life, to fully implement and achieve your ultimate goal. His biggest objective was to reach. One day Pradeep meets the same man again, which gave a new direction to his life. Now there was confidence in Pradeep's eyes. There was brightness, but somewhere there was a slight worry. She also told the man that I have said a lot, learned to understand myself better, but I still feel like one last lesson I need to complete. The man said smilingly that he could change his ways. Rahul, you have learned a lot so far and have achieved a lot, but now the time has come. Been that you most of your life. Understand the important lesson, Pradeep said. Heard from the man said, yet you on others. Depended on them to help you. Show you the way, but now you yourself. Be the master of your life today. I will tell you I have come to teach you the last lesson. Are you the savior? Pradeep asked in surprise. Meaning, can I still help others? Man cannot move forward without seriousness. Look, Rahul is in your life. There has also been a change, and it is not because I taught you something, but because you have harnessed the power within you, recognized and had the courage to fight for oneself. You yourself are the savior of your life. I can only show you your way. I am there, but you will have to walk yourself. Pradeep understood this deeply. Man further said, unless you depend on others, they will be there to solve the problems in your life. By the time you find a solution, you will use all your power. You will not be able to recognize most of your life. Be both your greatest enemy and your greatest friend. You are the only obstacle in your path, and you hearing this may be the key to getting rid of it. A new confidence in Pradeep's eyes. The light began to shine, and he realized that by now, he considered himself weak and thought that, always felt like he needed someone's help. But now he understood that the strength lies within him. The man said, now is the time. It has come that you will spend your whole life. Take responsibility into your own hands. If you want, you can overcome your fears, your weaknesses, and you can overcome your failures. It's up to how you live your life. Pradeep now decided that he himself will become the guide of your life.